There is a heaviness in the air today, a specific kind of weight that only a grandparent understands. It is not the weight of your own life, for you have lived through your storms. You have weathered the financial crashes, the heartbreaks, the wars, and the rumors of wars. You have scars, but they have healed into wisdom. No, the weight you feel now is different. It is a terrifying, silent question that wakes you up at 3 in the morning when the house is still. You look at the news, you see the unraveling of moral fabrics, the confusion of identity, the chaos of the economy, and the darkening of the geopolitical skies, and you ask yourself, what kind of world are my grandchildren inheriting? You look at their innocent faces in the photographs on your mantelpiece, and your heart clenches with a fierce, protective love. You wonder if they will have the strength to stand when the winds of the last days begin to howl. You wonder if the faith you have carried like a torch through the wilderness of your own life will be enough to light their way when you are no longer there to hold their hand. I am here to tell you that you are not helpless in this. You are not just a spectator watching the world burn. You are a watchman on the tower. You are the anchor. And there is a wisdom, a prophetic insight given to a man named Joseph Smith that was designed specifically for this moment in history. Joseph was not just a historical figure. He was a man who saw the very days you are living in. He peered through the veil of time and saw the confusion, the persecution, and the shaking of nations. But more importantly, he saw the safety. He saw the standard of Zion. He saw the spiritual architecture that acts as a shield for the faithful, even when the world around them is trembling. Today, we are going to walk through the valley of his visions, not to learn dates and history, but to extract the spiritual medicine you need right now. We are going to unlock 10 prophetic principles that will serve as a spiritual iron dome over your family. This is about transforming your fear into a power so ancient and so deep that it will ripple through your bloodline for generations. You must understand the nature of the times we are in. Joseph Smith described a time when everything that could be shaken would be shaken. Does that feel familiar? Look around you. Institutions are shaking. Trust is shaking. But Joseph also taught that there is a kingdom, a spiritual reality, that cannot be moved. He spoke of the standard of truth that has been erected. Think of a standard on a battlefield. It is the flag that flies high above the smoke and the chaos. When the soldier is lost, disoriented, blinded by the fog of war, he looks up. If the standard is still flying, he knows where he belongs. He knows there is still hope. You, my friend, are that standard for your family. The world is trying to convince you that all is lost, that the darkness is winning. But the first prophecy of safety is this: the truth of God will go forth bold, noble, and independent, until it has penetrated every continent and sounded in every ear. This was not just a prediction of missionary work. It was a promise of spiritual inevitability. No unhallowed hand can stop the work from progressing. Apply this to your grandchildren. The world may try to stop their faith. The culture may try to confuse their identity. But the promise is that the truth is stronger. The truth is inevitable. When you feel that panic rising, remember Joseph standing in the headwinds of the 19th century. Mocked, poor, hunted, yet declaring with absolute thunderous certainty that the purposes of God would not be frustrated. You need to channel that same certainty. When you look at your grandchildren, do not look at them with pity for the times they live in. Look at them with the eyes of prophecy. See them as Joseph saw the rising generation, not as victims of the last days, but as the generals of the last days. They were saved for this time because they have the capacity to handle this time. Your fear is a liar. Your faith is the truth. The Standard of Zion is not just a church organization. It is a frequency of faith that you establish in your home. When the world screams chaos, your home speaks peace. When the world screams confusion, your voice speaks clarity. That is the standard. And as long as you hold it high, your family will always have a place to look toward when they are lost. But let us go deeper into the heart of the struggle. There is a specific pain that comes when you feel like you are doing everything right, yet the heavens seem silent. You pray for your wayward child. You pray for the grandchild who has stopped calling. You pray for protection, and you hear nothing but the echo of your own voice. You are not alone in this. Joseph Smith knew the crushing weight of divine silence. Imagine him in Liberty Jail. It is not just a prison. It is a dungeon. It is cold, it is filthy, and he has been there for months. The saints are being driven from their homes. His family is suffering, and he cries out, "O God, where art thou? And where is the pavilion that covereth thy hiding place?" Can you feel that cry in your own chest? It is the cry of every parent and grandparent who has watched a loved one suffer and felt powerless to stop it. It is the cry of the soul that feels abandoned in the darkness. But listen to the answer he received. The prophecy of safety often comes wrapped in the package of silence. The Lord did not immediately open the prison doors. He did not immediately strike down the enemies. Instead, he whispered, "My son, peace be unto thy soul. Thine adversity and thine afflictions shall be but a small moment." This is the second great insight for your protection. The peace of the covenant is stronger than the prison of circumstance. Joseph learned that safety isn't the absence of storm. Safety is the presence of God within the storm. He was told, "Thou art not yet as Job." This was a reminder that the depth of the trial is often the measure of the destiny. If your family is struggling, if your grandchildren are facing battles that seem unfair, do not assume God has left the building. He is forging them. He is tempering their steel. The promise given to Joseph was that if he endured it well, God would exalt him on high. This is the promise you must claim for your descendants. You are worried that the world will break them. But the prophetic perspective is that the world will make them unbreakable, provided they have a connection to the divine. Your role in the silence is not to panic. It is to model enduring well. Your grandchildren are watching you. If they see you crumble when life gets hard, they learn fear. If they see you stand tall, with a quiet smile and a prayer on your lips, even when the bank account is low or the doctor gives bad news, they learn resilience. They learn that the small moment of affliction cannot destroy the eternal soul. You are teaching them that the jail walls of life, depression, anxiety, failure, are not the end of the story. They are merely the setting for the revelation. The silence is not an absence. It is a pause before the power is released. Now let us speak of the gathering. Joseph Smith spoke incessantly of the gathering of Israel. In his time, this meant physically moving people to a specific location. But as we move deeper into the last days, the prophecy of gathering takes on a profound, spiritual dimension that is crucial for the safety of your bloodline. We are no longer just gathering across oceans. We are gathering out of the world's mindset. The third prophecy of protection is the concept of standing in holy places. Joseph taught that the righteous must be gathered to stand in holy places and be not moved. What is a holy place? It is not just a temple or a church building. It is a condition of the heart. It is a fortress of the mind. Think of the culture your grandchildren are swimming in. It is a culture of distraction, of noise, of constant comparison, of addiction to screens and validation. It is a dispersion of the soul. The world wants to scatter their attention, scatter their morals, scatter their peace. The prophetic protection is the gathering. You must make your presence a holy place. When they come to your house, or when they speak to you on the phone, they should feel like they have stepped out of the chaotic current of the world and onto a solid rock. You are the gatherer. You gather them with your love. You gather them with your stories of faith. You gather them with your cookies and your listening ear. But more importantly, you gather them to the truth. Joseph saw that in the last days, the wheat would be gathered into the garners to be protected from the storm. You are the builder of the garner. The garner is the relationship you build with them. If you judge them, if you criticize their clothes or their choices, you scatter them. You push them back into the storm. But if you love them with the pure love of Christ, if you offer them a sanctuary of acceptance combined with the gentle guidance of truth, you gather them in. And once they are gathered into the garner of your love, the storms of the last days can howl all they want. They cannot touch the core of who they are. This safety comes from belonging. The world tells them they are nothing but consumers and accidents of biology. You tell them they are children of God, heirs to a spiritual throne. That identity is their shield. We must address the fear of the collapse of freedom. Many of you watching this remember a time when liberty felt secure, when the Constitution was revered as a sacred text of freedom. Joseph Smith prophesied of a time when the Constitution would hang, as it were, by a single thread. This image haunts many. It suggests a fragility, a moment where the entire structure of liberty is about to snap. You look at the political landscape, the anger, the division, and you think, the thread is snapping. But look closer at the prophecy. Who saves it? It is the elders of Israel, the people of the covenant, who step forward to save it. This fourth principle is about spiritual liberty. The political chaos is a reflection of the spiritual chaos. The thread is not held together by politicians. It is held together by the righteousness of the people. You protect your grandchildren not by obsessing over the news, but by teaching them the principles of moral agency. The ultimate safety in the last days is the ability to govern oneself. Joseph famously said, "I teach them correct principles, and they govern themselves." This is the key to parenting and grandparenting in the apocalypse. You cannot control their environment. You cannot ban every book, block every website, or shield them from every ideology. If you try to control them, you will lose them. Instead, you must empower them with the thread of personal revelation and moral agency. You teach them that true liberty isn't doing whatever you want. It is having the power to do what is right. When you teach a grandchild to listen to their conscience, you are strengthening the constitution of their soul. Even if the laws of the land crumble, if the law of God is written on their hearts, they are safe. They become walking, breathing vessels of liberty. The world can put them in chains, but it cannot enslave their spirits if they know who they are. You are the guardian of this thread. By living a life of integrity, by keeping your word, by honoring your covenants, you are reinforcing the thread for the next generation. You are showing them that order and freedom exist, first and foremost, inside the human heart. Consider the concept of the refiner's fire. Joseph's life was a testament to the fact that persecution and tribulation are not signs of failure, but signs of favor. The fifth prophecy of protection redefines suffering. Joseph said, "Deep water is what I am wont to swim in." He didn't say he liked it, but he said it had become a second nature to him. He realized that the friction was creating the heat necessary for his expansion. Your grandchildren will face a level of psychological and spiritual friction that is unprecedented. The levels of anxiety and depression in the youth are skyrocketing. This is their deep water. Your instinct is to pull them out of the water. You want to fix it. You want to pay their debts, solve their problems, fight their battles. But the wisdom of Joseph suggests a different approach. You must teach them how to swim. You must teach them that the resistance of the water is what builds the muscle of the soul. Prophetic safety is not the absence of enemies. It is the presence of the armor of God. When Joseph was mocked, he didn't shrink. He grew bolder. When he was betrayed, he didn't become bitter. He became more compassionate. This is the alchemy you must pass down. Tell them your stories of struggle. Don't just tell them the victories. Tell them about the times you failed. Tell them about the times you doubted. Let them see your humanity. When they see that you swam in deep water and didn't drown, they will believe that they can swim too. You are validating their pain while pointing them to their power. You are telling them, yes, the world is hard. It was hard for Joseph. It was hard for me. But we are of the blood of Israel, and we do not break. We overcome. This mindset shift from victim to victor is the greatest shield you can give them. It protects them from the fragility that plagues this generation. It gives them a backbone of steel in a world of jellyfish. There is a mystical, beautiful element to Joseph's mission that directly touches the bond between you and your grandchildren. It is the mission of Elijah, the turning of the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the children to the fathers. This is not just about genealogy work. It is about a spiritual conduit of power that flows through the generations. The sixth prophecy of safety is that this bond is the only thing that prevents the earth from being smitten with a curse. Think about that. The connection between generations is the antidote to the curse of the last days. What is the curse? It is rootlessness. It is being an orphan in the universe. When a child feels disconnected from their ancestors, from their heritage, from the sacrifices that came before them, they are easily blown about by every wind of doctrine. They have no roots. You are the keeper of the roots. Every time you tell a story about your parents, every time you share a spiritual experience, every time you speak the names of those who have passed on, you are strengthening that root system. You are binding your grandchildren to a support system that is invisible but invincible. Joseph saw a welding link between the generations. This means that even if your grandchild strays, even if they leave the faith, the link is not easily broken. There is a pull, a spiritual gravity, that comes from the sealing power and the love of the grandparents. You can call them home through the veil. Your prayers act as a homing beacon. Do not underestimate the physics of this spiritual connection. You are not just an old relative to them, you are their link to eternity. By solidifying your own faith, you are driving a stake into the ground that secures the family tent. Even in the fiercest storm, the tent may flap, the stakes may groan, but because the hearts are turned, the structure holds. Let us speak of knowledge. Joseph Smith was voracious for truth. He famously said, "A man is saved no faster than he gets knowledge." In a world of fake news, deep fakes, AI-generated deception, and relative truth, knowledge is the ultimate weapon. The seventh prophecy of protection is the gift of discernment. Joseph saw a day when even the very elect would be deceived if possible. The only way to avoid deception is to have the Holy Spirit as your guide. You must encourage your grandchildren to seek knowledge, not just secular knowledge, but spiritual intelligence. Joseph taught that truth is knowledge of things as they are, and as they were, and as they are to come. The world deals in things as they seem. You must teach them to look for things as they are. This means teaching them to question the narrative of the world. It means teaching them to value the quiet whisper of the Spirit over the shouting of the mob. When you sit with them, ask them deep questions. What does your heart tell you about this? Does this decision bring you peace or anxiety? Help them tune their spiritual radios. Joseph didn't just give people fish. He taught them how to receive revelation. He said, "It is the privilege of the children of God to come there and enjoy these privileges." If you can teach your grandchild how to receive one moment of personal revelation, one moment where they know that God spoke to them, you have armored them for life. No professor, no skeptic, no hardship can take that away from them. That is the rock of revelation, the same rock upon which Christ built his church. We move now to the vision of Zion. For Joseph, Zion wasn't just a dot on a map. It was a people who were of one heart and one mind. The eighth prophecy of protection is the creation of micro-Zions. The world is becoming increasingly divided. Race against race, class against class, ideology against ideology. It is the strategy of Babylon to divide and conquer. The strategy of Zion is to unite and heal. You cannot fix the division in Washington or the division in the nations. But you can build Zion in your living room. You can show your grandchildren what unity looks like. It looks like forgiveness. It looks like refusing to gossip. It looks like serving your neighbor, even the one with the political sign you hate in their yard. When your grandchildren see you acting with charity towards those who disagree with you, you are inoculating them against the virus of hatred that is consuming the world. Joseph taught that Zion is the place of defense and a refuge from the storm. Your home is that refuge. Make it a place where there is no contention. In the last days, contention is the tool of the devil. Peace is the power of God. When your home is peaceful, it becomes a magnet. Your grandchildren will want to be there because it feels different than the hallways of their school or the comments section of their social media. They will feel the safety of Zion every time they walk through your door. You are proving to them that peace is possible, that Zion is real, not because they read it in a book, but because they felt it in your kitchen. Now, we arrive at the ninth point, the most mystical and powerful of all. This is the concept that touches the very DNA of your spirit and theirs. Joseph Smith taught profound truths about the power of prayer and the sealing of the faithful. There is a principle here that we often miss. The prayers of the righteous can alter the spiritual trajectory of descendants they have never met. I want you to think about the spiritual DNA of your family. Just as you pass down eye color and height, you pass down spiritual predispositions. But unlike physical DNA, spiritual DNA can be altered by intercession. Joseph Smith said, "The prophet Joseph Smith declared, and he never taught a more comforting doctrine, that the eternal sealings of faithful parents and the divine promises made to them for valiant service in the cause of truth would save not only themselves, but likewise their posterity." Do you hear that? This is the teaser we spoke of, but it is no tease, it is a lifeline. Your faithfulness, your prayers, your endurance right now are banking up credits in the treasury of heaven that can be drawn upon by your grandchildren in their moments of crisis. You may have a grandchild who hasn't been born yet, who 50 years from now will be standing on a precipice of decision. And suddenly, they will feel a pullback from the edge. They will feel a strength they didn't know they had. That is you. That is your prayer offered in 2024 or 2025, rippling through time to catch them in 2075. Time is not a barrier to the Spirit. Joseph saw the end from the beginning. You must pray for your unborn great-grandchildren. You must pray for the spouses your grandchildren will marry. You are planting trees under whose shade you will never sit, but whose fruit will save your family from spiritual starvation. This is the ultimate safety. You are building a shield of covenant protection that surrounds them like a force field. Even if they wander, the promise is that the shepherd will go after them, and he will use your cords of love to pull them back. Do not stop praying. Your prayers are the most powerful energy in the universe. They are the iron rod that your family will hold onto in the midst of darkness. Finally, the 10th prophecy, the ultimate victory. It is easy to get lost in the doom and gloom of last days talk. But Joseph Smith's vision was ultimately one of triumph. He saw the return of the king. He saw the earth renewed. He saw the tears wiped away. The 10th prophecy of protection is hope. If you are a doom scroller, if you are constantly talking about how bad things are, you are teaching your grandchildren to despair. But we are people of the morning, not people of the night. We are looking for the sunrise. Joseph Smith went to his death calm as a summer's morning. Why? Because he knew who won the war. He knew that the cross was not the end. The empty tomb was the reality. You must be a dispenser of hope. You must look your grandchildren in the eye and say, "These are great times to be alive. God chose you for this time because you are strong enough for it. And I know that everything is going to be okay." When they hear that confidence from you, it breaks the paralysis of fear. It gives them permission to dream, to build, to marry, to have children of their own. The safety of the last days is found in the certainty of the outcome. We know the end of the book. Christ reigns. Evil is defeated. Light conquers darkness. When you live with that certainty, you become a lighthouse. The waves may crash against the lighthouse, but the light does not flicker. Be that light. If you are feeling this weight lift even a little, if you feel the spirit of Elijah turning your heart to your family and their hearts to you, type yes in the comments below. Let it be a digital covenant that you are claiming this safety for your home. Listen to me closely as we close this circle. You are not old and useless. You are seasoned and lethal to the enemy. Your prayers are weapons. Your faith is a shield. Your love is a fortress. Joseph Smith saw the darkness, yes, but he focused on the light. The standard of truth has been erected. You are holding it. Do not drop it. Your grandchildren are looking at you. Stand tall. Smile at the storm. For the God of Joseph, the God of Israel, is your rear guard. He is going before you, and he is coming after you. Your family is safe in his hands. Peace be unto thy soul. The storm is loud, but the captain of the ship is on board, and he has never lost a vessel. Trust him. Trust the process, and watch the salvation of God unfold in the lives of those you love.